We are here with the Bishop McGuinness wrestling coach, Brian Sickelbaugh, archiving the wrestling team. So we're going to start with a few questions. How long have you been involved in the sport of wrestling?
Started out, I walked on the mats the very first time in 1977. So that's 40 years. So.
Alrighty. How many schools did you coach at prior to coaching at Bishop McGuinness?
This is my fourth. I started off my undergrad at Beechcroft High School in Columbus. I was assistant coach there. And after I moved down here, my first coaching job was at Trinity from 88 to 91. And then I got out of the sport for a little bit. And then I went back to High Point Central. I was there for 3. And then I came here 14 years ago. So my fourth school, and I started the team.
What brought you to Bishop McGuinness?
My daughter was already in school here, and my oldest one. And I don't know, it's just someplace I wanted to be. I knew they had a science position. I knew they didn't have wrestling, so I was really pestering Coach Stoller and Mr. Repass to start a wrestling team and to get me over here because I wanted to bail out of Central. I had it up to here with, not the kids, but the administration over there was a joke. So I basically pestered them, and because I wanted to be here. I wanted to be here because I knew a lot of the kids that my oldest daughter hung out with, and it was just an environment I wanted to be in.
So you already answered this, but there was no wrestling team prior to your arrival at Bishop.
None whatsoever. So yes, and that was the first 3 years we were here. We were, I think, 14 and I want to say 71. So those were lean years. But yeah, so I started the team. So didn't have a lot of guys on it. I think we started out with the very first year. I think we started out with over 30 doing skinfold, and it boom, 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 boom. They started dropping like flies. They couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What did you do in order to attract students to the sport of wrestling?
Told them that they needed to man up and come out to a real sport. I tracked them down in the halls, in class, at lunches. I mean, every male that I encountered, I'm like, let's go. And of course, most of them had never seen wrestling. The one guy I did have, Dane Coffey, he was a sophomore, and he was definitely going to wrestle because he had wrestled. He was a transfer in from Northwest Guilford, and so he's really the only one that had ever seen a wrestling mat. Everybody else was looking for ring ropes. So I had to explain to him, this is what it is. It's like the Olympics. It's not like the stuff on TV, and it took a lot of hard convincing. So, and that's been an ongoing thing, trying to get guys in here in the room. So.
Have you ever tried specifically recruiting any females?
Not specifically. There's always been this. I did have, I think, the second or third year, there were twin girls that were here, and they were kind of rough. They wanted one of them talked to me about wrestling, and Sister Ann kind of put her foot down. Well, I haven't said, no, you're not going to wrestle, So I really haven't not actively recruited any girls trying to get them in here. Although I know there's some that would probably do okay, so especially in the lighter weights.
Mm-hmm. So how many students exactly did come out the first year you were coaching the team?
Let me see. I think we had like 32. And then that was for skin fold. First day of practice, I think we were down less than 20. And then by the end of the season, I think we ended up at like 14. something like that. We didn't have a full team.
Mm-hmm.
We were close, but we didn't have a full team.
So, being a wrestler myself, I know the hard work and dedication it takes to be successful and the discipline it takes to persist through the sport because it's a very long season. Did you ever have to, like back off or ease up on the guys because you had too many dwindling numbers?
I have found that, I guess because I'm getting older, I'm really old, but the practices have actually gotten easier over the past, say, 6 to 8 years. We have backed off a little bit. We used to be able to run halls every day.
Oh wow!
Around here, yeah, because one lap around the second floor down to the first floor is a quarter mile. And the very first couple of years, I mean, these guys they'd get out here and they'd do 12, so or 10, so they'd have to run 3 miles, 2 miles, something like that. I mean, that's I brought in a style that I was used to getting the guys on the road, doing a lot of running. But after watching things, and you find out a lot of, you get to know a lot of coaches. You get to learn a lot of technique and things that are coming on, that are out there. So we backed off the running. It's just a few trips up and down the steps now, right out here outside of my room, and then we've gone with more live. So, yeah, that's the good thing is though our conditioning has always been excellent. It's always been better than most programs. So, but I have had to back off a little bit, and it wasn't because of dwindling numbers. It was just a change in philosophy.
So would you say that more towards when the team started as opposed to now, a lot of the athletes had more discipline and a philosophy of hard work?
There's been a change in the kids. The kids have, for lack of a better term, gotten softer. Wrestling's a blue collar sport, and this is a white collar school. So, the ones that are dedicated and want to come in and work hard every day, they're going to, because they have that work ethic, they're going to push themselves, and they're going to be multiple all-conference team members. They're going to be state qualifiers. They're going to finish well at the regional. They're going to be state placers. And those are the ones who have that mindset of hard work. And we're going to do this because they want to achieve their personal goals. And when everybody achieves their personal goals, the team does better. But that's one thing that I have noticed. Kids are they don't have that work ethic that it takes.
Looking back, what is your fondest memory from coaching the Bishop McGuinness wrestling team?
There's a lot of them. I don't have one in particular. It was really cool when in 2011 when we were state runner-up. I'm just standing there and I'm expecting, okay, we're going to get this. We're going to get this state runner-up trophy, so everybody's down there, and we're ready to go. And we got our trophy, and then Q Tucker looks at me and says, "Coach, this is for you. This is yours." And it's a state runner-up coach plaque. And that was really cool, getting everybody down there, getting all these pictures made of the entire team at the Coliseum with this nice big plaque. Fond memories, I mean, they occur with, when kids are doing, watching somebody get on the podium. I mean, there's just too many. Everything, and there's stuff that I really like. It really makes me happy that to watch the guys make their goals. I mean, watch the reactions, watch the smiles on their faces, watch whether it's qualifying for state or winning conference or whatever, that is just, I don't know, it's moving to me because it's like, yes, they did it. So, one memory, no, many, too many to count.
So one of your former Bishop McGuinness wrestlers, Nick Segroy, unfortunately he passed away last year. However, you were his head coach. What was it like working with him in the room?
Nick was intense, very intense. And he was intense all 4 years. He was very goal-oriented. And that group that he was with, they were a bunch of hard-nosed kids. They had work ethic, they had dedication, and Nick's goal was to dominate the room, and it didn't matter the weight class. He just had that mindset, no holds barred. He's going to run the room, and he was great to coach because the intensity of the room was going up every time Nick was in there. Plus, he was a natural leader. He was verbal communication, but he led by example. His intensity was infectious, and everybody by the end of his senior year, everybody wanted to beat that snot out of each other in the room. They wanted to beat each other up. So he really set the tone. So.
In what ways do you think you, as a coach, were able to help your wrestlers become successful not only on the mat, but also in their everyday lives?
As a coach, you just try and, you try and stay positive. You try and be a role model. A true coach is going to coach, and it's not just the sport. I stay on the guy. I've always stayed on you guys about grades. You got to do grades. You got to do, get here and help out, teach the next generation. Come in and work the camps and just trying to get the wrestlers to understand that if they can battle through the season and practice and they can survive that, they can step up to the challenge of a KISS test or the SAT or something like that, and they can attack it. They have that understanding that, hey, the old adage is, once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy, and you get a mindset. You got to battle a lot of demons when you're on the mat. Weight control, grades, and personal relationships. And once you learn how to control those, and once you learn how to deal with those, everything else in life you can handle. And that's what I want to do. That's always been my goal. Show them how to get it done in the classroom, be a positive role model, and kick you in the behind when you need it, but put my arm around you and give you a hug if you need that too. You got to be a genuine person, and that gets you. That helps these guys, and that helps wrestlers get to what they just not necessarily get their wrestling goals, but to be genuine, good people. And and like I said, anything that's when they're confronted with something, they can figure it out. Figure it out. Work your way through things.
Now, you mentioned not only helping the guys on the team, but also helping, younger kids and kids coming up through middle school. And you do run a middle school camp over the summer. Have you ever tried employing any other techniques to recruit middle schoolers, since all the Catholic feeder schools don't have any wrestling programs?
I've several years we ran middle school programs. We'd have it in the spring. It wasn't during season, because middle school season is the same time as the high school season. But we started in late March, and first weekend in May we'd throw out 2 mats in the gym, and we'd have a tournament. And they'd practice 3 days a week. I used to I'd distribute the mat to all the feeder schools. And we'd even send mats over to PSS because I had wrestlers from each one of those schools. So they would be the coach, and they would coach the middle school kids. And, you know, we'd get 6 or 8 or 10 kids, and then, okay, give me your weights. We'd weigh them in on Saturday morning. They'd come over, they'd have a tournament, and we'd get officials that would volunteer to come in because they, you know, were really excited about what they did or about what we were doing. And, you know, but the problem with that is that, you know, we'd get the high schoolers to coach, but then we'd have to have adults there as well. Well, once the dads graduated, so to speak, because their kid wasn't in the middle school anymore, I'd have to find a new coach. So it's like every year, every 2, you know. And finally, we just got to the point where we didn't have any more coaches. Mm-hmm. Nobody was volunteering. Nobody was stepping up. None of the dads were stepping up because they wrestled, but I don't have time or I don't want to. And then the very last year, I had difficulty trying to get some of the parents to buy into my philosophy and my system here. And so after that, I just said forget it because it's just too hard to do. It's too stressful for me to do all that. So, plus I started coaching softball, and you know, I just decided to, when I stopped coaching softball, I decided to just dedicate my springs to preseason stuff. Mm-hmm. So, but I've done other things. You know, I put it in. You know, I even send the flyers home for the camp and gone to the schools and talked to them, and sent some of the assistant coaches out to talk to these kids, and it just doesn't fly. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a basketball mentality, and it's very hard to defeat.
So you mentioned, you know, buying into the philosophy, not just the philosophy of wrestling, but your philosophy. So what kind of stuff would you say to a student that says, oh, I don't want to wrestle because I don't want to have to wear the singlet, or maybe a parent says, oh, I don't want my child losing all this weight?
First of all, you don't have to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to lose any weight. You know, I don't want to wear the singlet. I don't get that. Okay. Unfortunately, there's a mindset, and it's always difficult to defeat, not just in this program, but in the sport across the board. I don't want to wear that singlet. Well, why? You know, there's nobody can give me a valid reason why they don't want to wear a singlet. Why they don't want to wrestle. I have yet to be given a valid reason for someone to say no. Mm-hmm. So, but it's a constant thing. I'm not alone. I'm not the only coach that's dealing with it.
Yeah. So next year you're moving to South Carolina and starting a team at Newberry High School. But I would like for you to describe your thoughts on the future of the Bishop McGinnis Wrestling program. Do you think it's heading in the right direction? Why or why not?
It can't get any worse. No, I'm just kidding. No. You know, with my leaving, you know, Coach Jackson's going to step in as head coach. He's got a lot of experience on the mats. You know, the guys on the team, the current members of the team that are returning, know him, respect him. They know he's got a lot of knowledge to share with them. You know, it's definitely going in the right direction. The biggest problem is, again, battling that I don't want to. Well, why? So that kills our numbers. But the ones we do get are going to be solid, and unfortunately it's going to be a long time until we can field a full team. So, you know, but it's definitely going in the right direction. You know, so okay, so we won't win state duels, but are we going to have state placers, individual placers? Are we going to have, you know, individuals win conference? Yes. You know, and that'll continue. That trend will continue. You know, and I have every confidence in Ed and the staff that he may bring in, or anybody else, that, you know, the old coaches that are staying, that they'll just continue everything. You know, so I mean, you know, we went from, like I said, the very first year it's been uphill. We've been going uphill.